I've made over $115 million in my career. And it's crazy because I didn't have any special skills. There was no prior education on this. I wasn't an expert. I was a nobody online. I had no big following. I wasn't famous. I didn't try to leverage other people's traffic to buy my stuff like Etsy or Amazon. And I did it practically free minus a booking link. ClickFunnels software at the time, we actually use elite360now.io, and a little grit and determination. And I even did it in my parents' spare bedroom, which was probably about the size of the bedroom I'm in right now, about 300 square feet. In today's video, I'm just gonna break this down for you guys completely raw and transparently, and I'm not gonna use a script or anything. I just have some bullet points to make sure I don't miss anything. And I'm gonna tell you guys about my story and how to get your own idea with examples, how to create blue ocean offers, how to drive traffic. And this is gonna probably be one of the most valuable videos you watch this year because there's very few people in the space who have done this much revenue in such a short time window. And I'm gonna try to make every video I drop better and better and better. And hopefully you guys have seen that in the last few videos. And I wanna help you guys for free for one of two reasons. The first is I've made a lot of money. $115 million, like I'm set at 30% profit margins, like I don't really have to make more money. But number two is if I can help you guys make money for free, or I can build trust with you and you can get some results this way, I'll earn your trust and then hopefully I can earn your business down the line because I do like running my businesses and obviously the end goal is to make a profit by helping people. So I started trying to sell a $47 fitness program at 22 years old. That was the first time I tried building a business because before that point, I was very interested in athletics and I played basketball and Division I football and I wanted to play in the NFL. And that was my life until about 22 years old. Now from 22 to 25, I only made $2,000. And it was humiliating to say the least because everything up to my life to that point, I'd been successful in. I had straight A's. I was really good with the girls. I was really good at athletics. I was pretty much a big man on campus, or so it felt like. And I was really struggling and failing at this and people were laughing at me. And I was living at home and I didn't have a nice car and I couldn't take girls out. And I really lost a lot of self-esteem from this. At that point, when I was 25, I switched to selling high ticket fitness programs at $1,500 plus. So these were usually 3 or 4 month long programs. And that's where things really started to take off. And I made $1 million in a year and I got my first award from ClickFunnels for using their software. And their software just helps you build sales pages and websites. And I'll get a little bit into that later, but nothing super crazy, but it was a software I used. And I'm really grateful for finding ClickFunnels. And I did so well that trainers from all over started to ask me for help because they'd seen my success in building an online successful fitness company and they wanted me to show them how I did it. Now, at first I resisted because I didn't want to become some guru because to be quite honest, they get a lot of hate on the internet. There's always someone posting or spouting something about how this guy does this or he's not really good at what he does or he rips people off. And I was aware of that and I didn't really want to go down that path. But I had a specific couple that came to me and I remember they looked at me and said, hey, look, you're our last hope, so to speak. We have 10K left and if this doesn't work, we're gonna quit and go back to our jobs. And I knew that I could help them, and so I did. And I decided to start taking on clients. The next year was even crazier, and this was the craziest year of my life. This was 26 turning 27, so this would be, 2019, somewhere around that point. And I did over $10 million that year doing business consulting for personal trainers. And I got another award from ClickFunnels. It was called the 10X Awards for doing $10 million a year. And then I got even more recognition and my name got outside of the fitness industry and people started asking me for help outside of fitness, right? So they said, hey, I don't have a fitness business or a fitness company, but can you help me? And so again, I said yes, and I started helping those individuals. And the next year we did 15 million. And then after that, I did $25 million a year for a few years, and I won the $100 million award from ClickFunnels to show and prove that I've done at least $100 million in revenue. And here I am. The reason coaching is such a great model to start with is because it takes little to no skill or only one skill. It takes no startup capital. It doesn't really take any prior business experience. You can sell it before you've built it, and we'll talk about how you can do that. And all you're doing is you're showing other people something that you already know how to do. And I didn't even know this was an industry. I didn't even know that was stuff people would pay for. But when you think about it, when you go to college, that's essentially what you're paying for. You're paying to learn. And what's happening is actually trust is shifting from colleges and universities at this point to more of the online industry. And that's what I really like about it. So you can actually show people what you do And it has all those benefits of no startup capital, no experience. You don't really need websites to even start, right? I had that at some point because I ran ads, but you don't even really need that stuff to start. And it's just one of the best models out there for all those reasons. Because if you're a beginner and you're trying to start a business, the best business to start is the one that doesn't take capital, doesn't take experience. You don't really have to prepare anything beforehand. You don't have to have any startup capital or VC capital. This is the best model for that reason. I want to get into how you get your ideas for your coaching business, okay? And you could also call it a digital product, right? It's really similar. The only difference between a digital product and coaching is you add in some calls, right? You add in some communication. A lot of people will say it's completely different. It's really not. The difference between a digital product and coaching is they get that digital product, but you might have a call a week or a call a month or group calls or texting. And what happens is when you do that, you can actually charge a lot higher prices. So getting ideas for your digital product, you want to write a list down and think of some of these things. So first, you want to look at your current skill set. So for me, I started a fitness company because I'd done fitness and athletics from 12 to 22 years old. I've been in basketball, football, cross country, weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting, you name it, I'd done it. And so it made a lot of sense because that was my skill set. I knew how to get in shape. I tracked calories. I'd done macros. I even did some professional fitness modeling. We'll throw that up on the screen so you guys can get some giggles. But I've done all those things. And that's one of the first things you start with is just what's your current skill sets. Something else you can do is look at what you've achieved over the last 5 years. So just look over the past 5 years and look at your accomplishments and write those things down because some of those might be the idea of what you could sell. What comes easy to you that's difficult for others. So this could be mathematics. It could be test placements. It could be obviously fitness. I brought that up. It could be running ads. It could be reading. It could be dancing. There's so many things that you would be shocked people want to learn, and it doesn't even have to be a big niche. It could be something really small and really particular and really specific. What do others come to you for advice on? So for me, I always had people coming to me for weightlifting advice or fitness or nutrition or athletics. It made sense. That's why I started in fitness. Have you ever given someone help with something, right? If you could go back in time, what would you tell yourself? That can become your product. So people will ask me all the time, Tanner, if you could go back and tell your younger self something, what would you do? That actually is what I sell now. I sell the same exact thing that I would go back and teach myself if I didn't know what to do. What would you teach your younger self? What challenges have you gone through in life and overcome, right? So this could be addiction, this could be depression, this could be anxiety, all kinds of things. It's anything really that is going to hit around health, wealth, and relationships. Better health, making more money, or getting better relationships. What problems could you solve for yourself? That could be your product. What could you talk about all day long without getting bored? For me, I love business. I love working. I love the gym. I love traveling. Like those are things that I could build services around. And then what would people pay you to learn from, right? So see if others are doing it. That's actually another key thing is like see what other people are selling. That means there's a market for it. So the key thing though is you want to teach something you actually know. I've had over 50,000 clients who bought something from either $1 all the way up to $200,000. Those are all the different price points I've had. And I've had some interesting businesses. I had one that was, it was a motorcycle type school, right? Like they would teach people how to ride motorcycles in certain schools and they would get certifications from the government or money from the government that would actually allow them to pay for it. I've seen how to learn how to sell or do remote sales. I've seen how to build a beauty salon. I've seen how to do handstands. I've seen how to play the piano or instruments. I've seen how to play guitar. I've seen how to do knitting, right? Like I don't even know how to do it. It's the little knitting thing, right? You take the two little things, you push it together. There's all kinds of things that we've done with our clients or that I've seen come through. And as long as there's people who want to learn that, it can work. The key thing is try to solve your own problems, right? If you have an issue and you solve it, that's gonna be something people want. In fact, I've had discussions with people who sold their companies from anywhere between 40 million to 4 billion. So I've had some discussions with some very heavy hitters. And a lot of the businesses they bring up, I say, how did you come up with that idea? Because I was curious, how did you come up with it? They said, I just saw a problem and I fixed it. That was all they did. They didn't try to think of something. They didn't, go into a market they didn't understand. They saw an issue, and because they saw the issue, they realized they could fix it, and the market pays you handsomely for fixing big problems. Now, if you really feel you don't have any skills, like I don't believe that, right? I genuinely feel every person watching this video, you should have some type of skill. But if you don't, and you don't have money and you just have time, you can either go to udemy.com and learn a skill for $100. You could learn Facebook ads or copywriting or email marketing, anything like that. Or you can even go to a site called Allison, ALISON.com. I don't have any affiliation to these websites, and just learn something there. Like you have to actually have value to give to the market. Most of you, if not all of you, honestly, I believe every single person out there, and I'm gonna give some examples in just a second, has value they can provide to the marketplace. But if you really feel you don't, or you don't think it's good enough to charge, go to one of these sites and learn a skill. And take it from me, I teach this stuff, right? I would love to have you become a client of mine and pay for my programs and all that type of stuff. But the thing is that even if you don't, go to these sites, like learn something, whether it's for me or someone else, learn how to do this thing because you can get paid handsomely for it and it can completely transform your life. Now, I wanna show you guys a little bit of client results. We actually have a website here and I'll just show you some of the people on here and you can go through these. I won't do it on this video, obviously, but you can go through these and see all the different types of clients we have. So this is a fitness coach. This is a business coach. If you come down here, you'll see more. We had a guy named Ranjit, for example, who he helps people get green cards. You guys can see all these different testimonials with all these different types of businesses, which is really cool because over the years, we've had so many different people come in here, and I think it'd be advantageous for you guys to, at the bare minimum, just go down and see all the different types of clients we've worked with and the results. Because over the years, on average, our clients will make, if you guys see right here, our top clients are doing about $112,000 a month. Our bottom clients are doing around $28,000 a month. And that's all from just selling something that they have value around and have done really well with. You now have some ideas of what you could sell. Now we have to actually package it in an offer where people are gonna buy it. So how to find offers is first, we need to understand pain, okay? Most people, 99% of people, so when I say most, it really should be 100%. They want more health, so they want to be in better shape, build more muscle, live longer, that type of thing. They want more wealth, so they want more money. That's obvious why they want that, or better relationships. And so we have to uncover their pain and why they're struggling in those areas. And then we want to build a system that gets results. And then we want to create what we call a USP or unique selling proposition for them on why our USP is better than someone else's. And then it solves that burning issue, okay? So I'm gonna give you examples to make sure that this actually drives the point home. So in fitness, I could say how to eat whatever you want without sabotaging results. Now, the reason I came to that conclusion, or I could say something like that, is because most people in fitness, they wanna lose fat, right? They wanna lose weight, but they don't want to eat healthier, or they don't wanna stop eating bad food. Okay, that makes sense. So if I say something like how to eat whatever you want without sabotaging results, that can satisfy that itch. Now, you might be hearing that, and for any of the fitness buffs going, well, that's bullshit, that doesn't make sense. It does, because if you say how to eat whatever you want without sabotaging results, that would mean there's some type of containment, right? There's gonna be macros or calories they have to adhere to. But when you're marketing, it's all about that perception. And so if they think, wow, like I can genuinely eat whatever I want, you'd be shocked at how many people don't understand macros and calories and the law of thermodynamics. So that's not what this video is about, but that would be an example of fixing health, right? Using a system to get results and having a USP. The USP is eat whatever you want and still get those results. And that's unique versus saying how to lose 20 pounds or I'll help you lose 20 pounds in 4 months. Every single trainer or fitness professional says that, and it's not unique whatsoever. Okay, so then we go to business. I could say book 70% more sales calls using conversion conversations. So a couple things. One, most businesses want more sales calls. So that hits on the wealth sector. The system is the conversion conversations, right? And they might go, I don't really know what that means. So it drives curiosity, which is a good thing when we're selling stuff. Anything that drives curiosity engages people to talk to you or speak to you. And then obviously the benefit is the sales calls, right? They want more of that. Let's use the dating example, right? You could get 50% more dates without cold approaching or DMing. So the USP is not to do that. And because that's what most dating coaches are going to prescribe for the average guy, that makes it so, they are interested in learning what is your unique mechanism or technique to do that. There's still other people who are competing in the same field, right? Like being a personal trainer is not unique. Being a business coach is not unique. But we can make your offer more unique by adding in different components. And that's what I want to walk you through here. So one of my good friends and one of the top gurus in the space right now, and I say that with endearment, it's a good term in this case, is Alex Hormozi. And he has a book called $100 Million Offers. And in the book, he breaks down in a very simplistic way how to build an offer that will be more advantageous to sell in the market where more people want to buy it. And there's really 4 components, okay? So on the screen, you can see we have determined outcome. Determined outcome is, do they want the thing you're selling? Usually this is the easiest part, because if you say how to lose 20 pounds, most people would want that. Or how to make $100,000, most people want that. Or how to have a better relationship. That's the determined outcome. What's the thing you're selling? That's usually the easiest part, because most people, when they're selling something, that part is handled and taken care of. The next part of this is times what he calls perceived likelihood of achievement. What that means is, what's the chance that it works? So for example, if I was teaching someone and I said, hey, I'll help you make $115 million like I did, most people would say that's very unlikely. But if I said, I'll help you make $10,000, then the perceived likelihood of achievement goes up, which makes it more likely that that person will buy. So the harder it is to get the outcome, the less likely it is someone will buy. The easier it is, the more likely they will buy. The 2 biggest components, though, that make the biggest difference usually is time delay and effort and sacrifice. And this completes kind of the square, the 4 components of making a better offer. So for example, time delay would be, hey, I'll help you make $10,000, the determined outcome. That's a higher likelihood of perceived achievement, okay? And then in 3 days. That's more advantageous than saying in 30 days or in a year. So the sooner they get the result, the more advantageous or the more willing they are to spend money. And then finally is the effort and sacrifice. So for example, when people ask me the truth, they say, Tanner, how hard was it to, do $115 million in a year? I was like, in 6 years. I forgot. I say, it's really hard. It was really hard. And because of that, less people are willing to do it. But if I can make that easier by saying, hey, we'll do it for you, or we'll do it with AI and tech or whatever, it's easier to sell. So just to summarize this with an example, let's say we did business coaching. So we said, I'll help you make $10,000, determined outcome. Most people would want that. The perceived likelihood of achievement because of that is pretty simple, right? So most people can buy, hey, you can help me make $10,000. That's a lot easier promise for me to make and get people to believe in than if I said $1 million, right? It just feels far out of reach for most people. In less than 30 days, without having to do any work, we'll do all the work for you. That would be the ultimate offer. Now, with that being said, you don't want to say things you can't fulfill on. So for example, it wouldn't make sense for me to run someone's company for them when I can run my own, right? So I can't say I'll do everything for you. Or it wouldn't make sense for me to say in 3 days or less, because building a business is hard, right? So it might take 3 months. So you want to make the offer as advantageous as possible, right? As sexy as possible for the marketplace, but you also want to make it doable. You want to make it scalable, because if I was running a business for every single client I had, I wouldn't be able to scale the offer. I wouldn't make a lot of money. So typically in the internet marketing space or in the coaching space, if that's the type of business you want to start, what I'd recommend is you want to focus on having a good determined outcome, and then make sure the chance that they achieve that outcome is high. You can't do much on time delay, right? It would be like trying to lose 20 pounds in 3 days. It's not going to happen, right? Even if you starved yourself, that's impossible. But you can do it in 3 months. And so I would focus mostly on the top 2 components and not worry so much about these bottom components. And if you want to know more about this, guys, just read $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi, and it goes through it. But this is essentially the summary of the book. He talks about this model. Once we have our offer, because that's what we just went through, you guys have a skill, we've identified the skill, and now we know how to package it and sell it. We actually want to start selling it. Most people think they need to build it first. You don't want to do that. In fact, you want to have the most minimal viable product, or the MVP possible. And the reason is because if you start building it and then you try to sell it and no one buys it, you'll waste months and months and months and not years if you did that. So for example, when I started, I was selling my fitness coaching program called the Rapid Muscle System for $47. And it took me a year to build it. I built all the sales pages. I wrote all the copy. I built all the emails. I did everything. And then when I went to sell it, no one bought it. I only made $2,000 in 2 years. What I should have done is try to sell it first. And then once I sold it, I could have built it. And the thing too is with coaching, the cool thing is you don't have to have it built. You just start by doing coaching live on Zoom first and get feedback on what they want, and then you can build it out. So you can actually sell it, because most people, when they're paying you, let's say $1,500 or $2,000 or $3,000 or whatever it is, they're willing to pay you more money, especially for doing Zoom calls. Zoom calls make it more valuable. And you don't have to do that forever, but in the beginning, you can just get on and coach them live. And it's like, all right, so today we're gonna focus on this. All right, day 2, we're gonna focus on this. And you start to see what most people have issues with, and then it helps you build out your curriculum. In some cases, you can actually take the recorded calls and that becomes your curriculum. In some cases, you edit it up and you splice the videos and that can become your curriculum. But you wanna sell it before you build it, because I've seen a lot of people build something and then they go to sell it and no one buys it. It's the same thing you'll see on Shark Tank. They get on Shark Tank and they ask these sharks for loans. And the sad part is they've already mortgaged their house. They've spent all their money. They've spent all their savings. It's their last dollar. They don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to build a business that way. You can sell it, get people on Zoom, start seeing what feedback they want, and then you can build it, all right? Now, the cool thing is, all you need really, and you don't even need this to start. To start, all I was using was my cell phone, so this, and then I started messaging people on Instagram. That's all I did. Once I was starting to scale, the only things I was really paying for is ScreenFlow, which is actually part of how I'm recording this right now. ClickFunnels, which was $97 a month in Google Drive. So it was like $200, and now we have our own internal software as well called Elite360.io that is $97 a month, and it has everything: text messages, emails, funnels, everything. So you don't have to have a lot of money to do this, and I'm telling you that so that even if you're in a bad situation right now or you don't have any experience or whatnot, you don't really need it, right? Like, even $200 a month is not a lot of money to start a business. Some businesses take millions and millions of dollars. You don't need anything to start this type of business. Once we have our product, we need to start getting into traffic. The only way to get traffic, there's 2 ways. You have organic and you have paid. Paid is obviously when you're running paid ads or you're doing shout outs or you're running ads on TikTok or YouTube, something like that. Organic is anything free, so posting or messaging. Now, something that drives me crazy when I see videos is that there will be gurus who say, oh, it's really easy to just build an organic audience and it's really easy to just make a lot of money in content. But most of the time, those guys have big content. Content is a very hard game, okay? So just to give you an example, I'm not trying to say I'm the best content creator, because I'm not. But I've posted thousands of videos on YouTube and gotten 27,000 subscribers. It's not easy, right? And there's a lot of people who quit at a certain point. Like, they don't keep pushing. So content is very hard, and gurus say it's easy, but it's not. The average client I work with has 100 followers or 500 followers or 1,000. They don't have a lot. So going to a client and saying, hey, just post, what you know, and you're gonna get clients that way is not a good strategy. Usually, what I encourage people to do with content is take matters into their own hands. Meaning, if you were just posting content, right, or you were trying to get some dates, and you just posted content saying, hey, like, I'm looking to date a girl and this and that, and you only let girls come to you, how many dates do you think you would get? Very few. But if you actually went out and talked to women, you'd probably get a lot more dates. And so an easier way, and the way I started my business, this is actually how I started, is I didn't have a big following. I didn't want to post a bunch of content because usually content takes a lot of time. People see me post now, but I have a big team. I have 12 editors, I have a videographer. It's way easier. I sit down, shoot these videos, and I'm done. There's nothing else I have to do. For the average person, that's not true. So what I did is I started reaching out to strangers, right? I reached out to my people who were following me on social media, the little I had, and then I started reaching out to different strangers. And what that would look like is I would send 100 DMs. I'd usually get 10% of people to respond. So only 10% of people, most people wouldn't see it, and then the people who did see it, only 10% would respond, right? So 100 people, 10 people would respond. Then I would book 3 sales calls, right? I would work through a messaging process and book a call, and then I'd close 1, okay? The cool thing about this is, let's say I sent 20 DMs an hour, which is pretty typical. You should be able to do that. That's 5 hours of work. Then I took 3 calls, which is an hour each, so 8 hours of work. And so for 8 hours of work, if I sold a $1,500 product, I'm making over $200 an hour, which is way more money than most people are making right now, right? Way more money. It actually does take more work, but it's easier because it's more predictable. Meaning, if you continue to do that on a daily basis, you can't lose. And if you're not hitting these numbers, then you know what to fix, right? If you send 100 DMs and get less than 10% responses, you know you're sending a first weird message. If you get 10% responses, but you don't book 3 calls, you know that you have a messaging issue. If you book 3 calls, but you don't close anyone, then you have a sales issue. And so this process is actually a lot more predictable. And then what I did is, once this process I had dialed in and I was making cash, I moved into paid ads so I didn't have to keep reaching out to people, because it does suck, right? But that's why you use paid traffic, because A lot of gurus will say, hey, post on social media and build a big organic following. And that's great if you can do it, but most people can't. There's not really a best way of like doing organic content or posting to get views. Like there's all kinds of stuff on the internet. But with business, when you're using numbers, it's a lot more predictable. And so what you can do from there is, let's say you made 3 deals at $1,500. So you have $4,500 cash. Now you can move into paid ads. And with paid ads, you just take a small portion of that, let's say $1,000, and you pay Facebook or Instagram and say, hey, I want you to show people this ad for this service or product that you've built. And so on average, if you spend $1,000 and you're getting $10 leads, it could be higher, but let's just say $10 leads is easy for this. You get 100 leads, you get 10 of those leads to book a call, and then you close 1, and then you rinse and repeat that process. So if I'm spending $1,000 and I'm charging $2,000, that's $1,000 profit. And once you learn how to spend $1 and make 2 consistently, that's how you'll actually make a ton of money, right? People talk about this all the time where they talk about building these followings, and it's just, I don't like it because for the average human, that's not gonna work. I've had over 50,000 clients. Not every single one of those clients is good on camera or can like make organic content or has a long enough timeline to be that patient. But everyone, if they come through and watch this video, you can actually do this. Right? You don't have to have any following to do this method. You don't have to have one of your videos get 1 million views. You don't have to. And that's how I've been able to be super successful and make a lot of money. So down below in the description below, there'll be a link to the Infinite Income Playbook. It's like $3. If you're serious about something like this, it'll take you through more of these processes, the strategies, the scripts, the emails, the templates, anything you need to build a business. And if not, just at the very least, keep watching my videos. That's it for this one, guys. I'll see you in the next one.